around the house, and some other colleagues. So let's support them. I committed on your behalf that we shall continue supporting each other in this cause. Honorable colleagues, also, I have seen very disturbing pictures on social media of youth from Karamoja who were starving, according to media reports, starving within the cells in Achori. The pictures are really disturbing. The pictures are really, really disturbing. I have told the Prime Minister earlier on, I shared with her today morning, she can be reminded when she is coming to handle issues of the Prime Minister. It's one of the issues I would want her really, whoever is responsible for making people reach that kind of stage should be held accountable. It's unbelievable, the pictures I saw of human beings, you know, just now looking like real skeletons out of starvation. I know how we even treat our prisoners. They are fed. We appropriate. Prisons have the largest farm. They feed their people very well, you know, so it shouldn't be reaching that level. But if it necessitates maybe a statement in future, it will be done, but the Prime Minister will touch on that issue. I don't want to open it up here for debate when I've just briefed her that she will say something about it when she comes. Once she says, then I can open up a little. And it was first sent to me by Honorable Face Nakut. Thank you for sharing. And then later on, I saw everywhere in the media. Colleagues, matters of national importance, I will handle all of them. I will handle all matters of national importance under Prime Minister's time. Okay? Because I want us to go on the substantive items on the agenda. And then after which Prime Minister comes in, we handle matters of national importance. Yes, I hope you don't open up that.
No, no debate. No, Speaker, I want to thank you for your communication, but I'm basing on the prayers we had yesterday with Bishop Kazimba. There is a story running around where from Itojo. Itojo is part of Uganda as a constituency of a member from here, where a reverend went to have prayers.
Itojo is in Ntungamo.
In Ntungamo district, actually. And this reverend was praying for Genome 7 to meet the promises he gave his people. And he did have no speaker. Even us in the other churches, we do the same. But this person was arrested, and he has a church where they have to pray on Easter. We wanted to know from Ministry of Internal Affairs to tell us when praying became a criminal in this country. When did the praying become even a crime, okay, whatever? Is it criminal? Is it a crime? I think my English is correct. For someone to pray, I'm speaking in legal terms. And fortunately, that the general is here. This reverend has been remanded, and we don't go for sub judice, but it's unfair. And there is a church is not going to have a reverend, but the bishop was here, right? No speaker. We need to know that because I've had special prayers whenever we have church in that direction.
Yeah, on colleagues, anyone with such issues, Prime Minister's time, I'll give you a chance so that they are answered, okay? In my communication, Honorable Abdara.
Thank you, Right Honorable Chair. I need to add a voice to those who joined us in welcoming the Archbishop. Honorable Speaker, ever since I joined this House, even in the recent bill we passed, which is pending before the President, there are some religious leaders who have never appeared anywhere, even in the dinner where you prepared for us. They are constant, they are always absent, and these are the Muslims. Neither the Old Kampala of Sheikh Mubaje, nor the Chibuli even when we are preparing that bill, for the Muslim leaders, they are nowhere. I call upon you, Right Honorable Speaker, to take note of the Muslims leaders in this country. Why are they shying away from Parliament activities? Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Abdallah, you're raising a serious issue. But for us as the leadership of Parliament, we don't mobilize religious leaders to come here. It's the different chaplaincies that do arrange. Now, we have we have a whole Imam of Parliament. You have your association and arrangement. The day you bring the head of Muslims, we shall be blessed to move and welcome him here. We are looking forward. In fact, I should task you. I expect the Mufut to come here. I've assigned you that. If you don't do, okay. So, colleagues, let's go to substantive items, because you see, when Prime Minister's time comes, you will get time to handle all these issues. Okay. So let's go to the statement. Rob, you wanted to say? I hope you're not reopening. I can give you time when Prime Minister comes. Okay. Hello.
Honorable Speaker, a quick one. In your communication, especially the harsh, life-threatening prison conditions that the citizens are going through. And that is good that you have directed the Prime Minister to make a statement. But in my view, there are many other forms of gross human rights violations that are going on, as you could be aware. The mysterious forced disappearances still continue. But what's to be told, Mr. Speaker, I wish you could prevail over her to include it. Those that are arraigned before the court martial, the charges that were actually put on them are shifting goalposts from being in possession, and these are civilians, the NUP supporters, from being in possession of military stores, to firearms, to ammunition. Now, yesterday, it has shifted to treachery. So we ought to get a comprehensive report on matters pertaining to gross human rights violations in Uganda. Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, we've handled very many reports to do with human rights issues. And they've been discussed here, state of human rights. We had one on prisons. But of course, they keep propping up day after day, you know. But because of your vigilance, colleagues, you're able to bring all these issues up. I would request we continue the way we are doing it, where there is a specific matter, we put the minister to task, so that we don't again ask for a statement when we recently discussed a report, you know. Then we shall continue rotating around that. But specific cases, we always put the minister task to ensure that he or she responds. Colleagues, let's save time, because PM's time will be very, very critical when we are handling many issues. Allow the statements, item number 3, I will handle it next week. So let's go to item number 4.
Item number 4 on the order paper, motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on Information, Communication Technology and National Guidance on the Uganda Communications, Fees and Fines Amendment Regulations 2023, pursuant Section 93.3 of the Uganda Communications Act 2013.
Chairperson of the committee? Chairperson is not yet in. Okay. Can we do next item?
Item number 5 on the order paper, laying of papers pursuant to Rule 33 of the Rules of Procedure.
Honorable Pio.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Before I lay, I just like to make some small correction that on the order paper, it is the 42nd session of the ACP-EU Joint Parliamentary Assembly and not the 40th session. Right Honourable Speaker, I hereby beg to lay on the table the report of the delegation from Parliament of Uganda to the 64th ACP Parliamentary Assembly and the 42nd session of the ACP-EU Joint Parliamentary Assembly held in Maputo, Mozambique in October to November 2022. I beg to lay.
Thank you.
Right Honourable Speaker, I request to just give a brief summary of the key highlights of the key resolutions, especially on the East African crude oil pipeline. There were key discussions on that.
Honourable, can you use 3 minutes?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. There are 3 key resolutions that were made in this ACP-EU Joint Parliamentary Assembly. The first resolution was on global climate change challenges. And within these resolutions, you all recall that the EU Parliament had earlier on come up with a unilateral resolution to ban further exploration of new fossil fuels for petroleum. In these resolutions that were presented, there was a proposal to have this banned. However, through the engagement with the different countries by the Ugandan delegation, we're able to have this amended from a ban to a transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy in a phased manner. And the basis of this was that Uganda and other developing countries still suffer from energy poverty, and therefore they need to invest in the fossil fuels in order to enable the renewable energy arrangements. The second resolution was on increasing access by ACP countries to the EU for different commodities. You all know Uganda is one of the major coffee exporters to the EU, and there have been challenges in terms of compliance due to technical arrangements. Again, in this resolution, we called upon EU to support and strengthen the technical capacities of producers, exporters, and national authorities as far as accessing the new market requirements in the EU. And lastly, we have what we know as the post-Cotonou agreement. I need to bring to the attention of Parliament that this is an agreement on which the basis for creation of the ACP, which is the Africa, Caribbean, and Pacific states, and the European Parliament is based on, and it will be valid for the next 20 years. However, as Uganda, we noticed that there were several provisions that support LGBTQ rights. There are also several provisions that were calling for the promotion of LGBT rights within our education curriculum. Uganda as a country, we stood firm, and you all recall our Right Honorable Deputy Speaker in that video that went viral stood firm and said we cannot exchange our values for European aid. I request that we appreciate on that. And we made it very clear that African values are not for sale, whether at factory price, at wholesale price, at retail price, even in barter trade. As a result of that, we disagreed fundamentally on the signing of the post-Cotonou agreement because of those provisions that are promoting homosexuality. Finally, the last lesson that we need to learn, this is an agreement that we found that had already been initialed, and we request our executive that before any document is initialed by any government official, the Attorney General should review it to ensure that it complies with our laws and legislation. We found those provisions talking about, you can imagine, talking about teaching children of 5 years old homosexuality, that there are traditional families of a man and a woman and a non-traditional families of a man and a man. These were referenced in that document itself, which we had initialed. So I appeal that as a recommendation, the Office of the Attorney General should ensure that these documents are reviewed But we also ask that the president should not proceed and sign this document. I beg to submit. Thank you.
Thank you. Procedure.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you and the delegation that traveled to Maputo to represent Uganda. However, Right Honorable Speaker, this ACP-EU agreement originally was a trade agreement between the African, Caribbean, and Pacific countries with the EU, and also issues promoting democracy. How now they smuggle in human rights issues is a subject of discussion, Right Honorable Speaker. We have just concluded the first interparliamentary conference on African, attended by members of parliament and delegates from 23 countries. And this conference discussed this ACP-EU agreement. And Your Excellency, the delegates did meet His Excellency, the President. And our call to the President was not to sign, because the speed at which this ACP agreement was moving was terrific, because the ministers initialed, and what was coming through is that we have no role. One of the calls, Right Honorable Speaker, is leaving this to the executive is not enough. In this meeting, the interparliamentary conference that just ended, we have requested that Parliament, that document be laid before Parliament, and Parliament also, as representatives of the people, members of Parliament, review that document before the executive finally signs it. And I want to thank Right Honorable Speaker, His Excellency the President. He committed before us and all these delegates, and he thanked us for alerting him and said he will not sign this agreement. So I want to inform the Attorney General and also the Minister of Foreign Affairs that it's important that that document be brought here, so that as members of, representatives of the people, we should actually review it. So the procedure issue, Right Honorable Speaker, other than this report that we have received, would it not be procedural right to ask the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who is our representative and sits in those ministerial councils, to lay before this House that draft in the form which he initialed? Let him lay it here so that we can actually review it. So that's the procedure issue. And Right Honorable Speaker, maybe what has not come through from the Honorable member, his name is Achuti, the Honorable Achuti, is that in that agreement, Right Honorable Speaker, as you are aware, the EU is dividing up Africa, Caribbean, and the Pacific into different protocols so that they can speak to them differently, have meetings with them differently. And you all know that we have been working together as SCP, as one bloc against the EU. Now you are being divided. So, Right Honorable Speaker, that is also an issue, because when we are divided, then you know we are weakened. So thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, you know, when I went to Maputo, what I discovered really shocked me. Because these international organizations, sometimes which we belong to, they have a way they conduct business that makes it formal to do everything in a reclusive manner. And they have rules of procedures where you cannot even question anything until, you know, they force you to come out with a lot of, you know, vigor, like the way we did with the whole team. I had Honorable Samuel Ropio, I had Honorable Chiwadia Morris, Honorable Sechkubo, Honorable Cecile Guar, Honorable Bashir Kazibwe. Yes, if there is any other member, Honorable Raijo Kupa, you know, and we had put up a spirited fight. Now, what we discovered, they do appoint a small group which goes and negotiates on behalf of the rest. And whatever that group has agreed, no country can come up to question, and it's in their rules. And we said what? But what was so good was most of the proposals which were made, they needed to come and change our domestic laws. So we said, so if you're saying parliaments don't have a role or the ministers have initialed, who will amend the laws? Who will amend the laws? So, but it would be unfair for me to open. I know Rule 33, sub-rule 3 says I may allow a debate on the matter for time not exceeding 45 minutes, but you have just received the report. Good enough, it doesn't say when, it says the presiding officer shall appoint a time when we can debate this. So what we are going to do, let the minister lay on table the post-Cotonou agreement that he initiated that has all these details. And also for your information, I raised this issue with the president. I held a meeting with the president and the attorney general on some issues. So I raised it with him, and he was shocked when I gave him the details that we had found. And the attorney general had not looked at this document, but we had committed our country due to the processes which are set in Brussels. So the president has also agreed no international agreement should be signed, and I hope he will give a very clear directive. No international agreement should be signed without clearance of the president, because the president will consult the attorney general. Okay? The Minister of Foreign Affairs cannot go and commit Uganda on an agreement. Because now if the attorney general comes and says, I never looked at this, you know, what do you do? And indeed he had not looked at it. So I let the minister bring the agreement here. And once it comes, I will, I'll give you around 2-3 days. We shall share it, okay? And if he doesn't, I have a copy. So if they don't, I will share the copy because I demanded for it as a head of delegation and I got it. So we shall ensure you receive it. We need it laid on the table. We share with you, and after I do appoint a time for debate when you've read the report and the agreement. Otherwise, for now, very few people who have information are the ones going to debate. Others will be a mere speculation. Yes, our colleagues, under what rule?
Right, Honorable Speaker,
Yes.
thank you very much for the opportunity you've given me.
Okay.
Right, Honorable, you've highlighted something.
Honorable
and
colleague.
we thank
Honorable
for-
colleague, Rule 78 sub-rule 4 says when you interrupt debate on a point of procedure, before anything you state the rule. So under what rule are you moving? Start with the rule, then we proceed.
I will state the rule, Right, Honorable Speaker.
No,
Please
that's
allow
what
me.
it says.
Please allow me, Right, Honorable Speaker. Please, thank you. Thank you very much, Right, Honorable Speaker. Right, Honorable Speaker, we thank God for the vigilance of the team. And we thank God for your vigilance as the team that went for that conference. Right, Honorable Speaker, for quite long, we have been here talking about our commitment to those international protocols, agreements, and the rest. Now that you've required the minister to come about that specific one, can you require the minister also to come and brief the House about the status of all others international commitments, agreements that we have signed or we've committed to, and probably it will help this House to know how we can and what we expect. Thank you very much, Reverend.
Thank you. Is Chair Foreign Affairs Committee here or vice? Because you see, a chair, we had given an assignment that all international agreements which Uganda is party to, we have some that are not yet ratified. So they need to be here so that they are ratified, or we know we are not party. Because you reach in international conferences and meetings, they say you're party, but we've not yet ratified here in Parliament.
Right, Honorable,
We
the
expected
committee,
the report, yes.
we have been able to write to the ministry, and we're expecting that report.
When?
as a committee.
When?
We are waiting for them to respond.
Can I have those copies here? Wednesday next week, they are laid here because the documents must first be laid here. Then I refer them to your committee.
Most obliged, Right Honorable.
Okay. Honorable Songa.
On that point, Right Honorable Speaker, I know the decisions that the Council of Europe, especially the ministers, made on the various issues, but I wanted actually to come to the point that the involvement of the Foreign Affairs Committee is still limited in this House. There are many international treaties, conventions, and protocols that requires that the Committee for Foreign Affairs should really be involved. Now, related to that, the Minister for Foreign Affairs will come and make a statement here. But I would pray that sometime back we mentioned that we need as a country to review all these international protocols, conventions, and treaties so that we see the ones which are relevant for Uganda because they have subscription and cost involved. Thank you very much.
Honorable, that's extremely right. And Rule 40 sub Rule 3 of our rules of procedure is very clear that a minister at least twice a year will give the House. Honorable, you're not hearing me? I'm saying Rule 40 sub Rule 3 of our rules of procedure says that at least twice a year, a Minister of Foreign Affairs will be updating the House on the implementation of all international treaties the country has entered into. So that we know, because you see, colleagues, when you see in other countries, parliamentary diplomacy is very critical. It supplements state diplomacy. Parliaments, when we meet as parliaments, all this donor money, all this money which the Minister of Finance is always traveling, that is looking for, is approved by parliaments of that country. Parliaments of those countries. So when we have that friendship, and that's why we as parliament, we value our international obligations and international associations, because parliamentary diplomacy is very, very critical in as far as supplementing state diplomacy is concerned. So I want to see the Minister for Foreign Affairs engaging Parliament more. Major reason being, we always send MPs abroad to represent the country. And I want to appreciate you, colleagues. Whenever you go out, you are all ambassadors of Uganda. Our domestic issues, you don't bring them into international meetings. Those are issues which we can always handle. Of course, we have a few who sneak them in. But that's always expected. So I hope the Minister for Foreign Affairs, the government chief, will coordinate with him so that he comes and he updates this House. Okay. So, honorable colleagues, let's go to the honorable Chair Rigo. You wanted to give guidance?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to say that, to agree with you, but to say that under the Constitution, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is the depository for all treaties and agreements which are signed by this country. Now, the various ministries, for example, Ministry of Gender, deals with treaties to do with children, with women, like CEDAW, like CPC, and I know they go to New York to give country positions on those. There are also some under ILO, and for example, say Ministry of Agriculture would do those to do with coffee. So the Ministry of Foreign Affairs should be tasked to tell us which particular ministries have the particular, conventions, so that we know, because they are the depository. But it's not only them, because it falls under all ministries depending on the subject matter. But it is also annoying to see that although under the Constitution, the Attorney General is supposed to sign agreements on behalf of government, other people go ahead to do it. It's not acceptable.
It's a constitutional duty that the Attorney General is our chief legal advisor of government and therefore should do that. But also sometimes the officers that go out don't do their duty. When we go out, members, to defend government, many times depending on the subject matter, they can pick you at the airport, give you drinks when you go to your hotel, give you food and you get food poisoning and you won't even go for those meetings. Then when the signing comes up, you're not there. They can even give you money for shopping and you don't appear there. So if somebody goes and they're not patriotic enough, they'll get diverted. We have seen that happening when I was in Ministry of Justice, who were very cautious about it. You see people on delegations going and they're saying, the car that came for us at the airport, they have offered this, they have offered this. So we need to be careful.
Thank you. That's good advice to the executive. For us as Parliament, we don't sign anything. So the executive, Honorable Akojo, has very good experience because of her previous position in government. But on the one of the Minister of Foreign Affairs telling us who has what, you see, that would be micromanagement on our side. For us, we have our Minister for Foreign Affairs. Then they can go and manage themselves as the executive. The minister can always delegate any other minister because we hope government is integrated. It does not work in silos. Okay? Colleagues, let's quickly go to point of order.
Speaker, yesterday you raised the issue of ministers appearing, and I'm happy they are here. But we know that the front row is meant for ministers. The honorable member from Busoga is sitting, squeezing ministers, and I don't know whether he has forgotten the rules of this house. And they have not seen him in the appointments committee. So is it in order to take up the minister's seats, squeezing the honorable member from Karamoja? The honorable speaker.
Thank you. I'm not seeing any members. Which member? I only see ministers on the front bench. You mean there's one without? I didn't see that. I wish I had. Yes, let's go back to item number 4.
Item 4 on the order paper. Motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on Information, Communication Technology and National Guidance on the Uganda Communications Fees and Fines Amendment Regulations 2023, pursuant Section 93(3) of the Uganda Communications Act 2013.
Honorable Chair, ICT, you have 10 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I present the report from the Committee of ICT. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the Minister of Information, Communication Technology and National Guidance laid before Parliament the Uganda Communications Fees and Amendments Regulations, Statutory Instrument number 24 of 2023 on 22nd of March 2023 in accordance with Section 93(3) of Uganda Communications.
Colleagues, can we have order in the House? Honorable colleague, try to be as audible as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The House, Mr. Speaker, the House accordingly referred these regulations to the Committee of Information, Communication Technology and National Guidance for scrutiny. Mr. Speaker, the committee acting under Rule 159F of the Rules of Procedure scrutinize the regulations and particularly examine whether the legal requirements prescribed in Section 93 of the Uganda Communications Act 2013 were complied with as far as enactment of this statutory instrument is concerned. Examine the legality, rationality, and appropriateness of the provisions contained in the statutory instrument. Mr. Speaker, the committee hereby reports under Section 6(1) of the Uganda Communications Act 2013, Uganda Communications Commission may, in the exercise of its functions, charge fees for services provided by the Commission, institute a levy on the gross annual revenue of operators, and impose a fine on a person who unlawfully possesses, installs, connects, or operates any communications equipment or apparatus, or unlawfully provides or performs any communication services, among others. Section 93(1) 2A of Uganda Communications Act empowers the minister responsible for information and communication technology, after consulting with the Commission, to make regulations by statutory instrument relating to fees payable upon the grant or renewal of a license for better carrying into effect the provisions of the Uganda Communications Act. The minister is required under Section 93(3) of the Uganda Communications Commission Act to lay on table these regulations. Section 93 of the Uganda Communications Act.
Honorable colleague, just go to your analysis of the provisions of the statutory instrument. By the time it comes here, we know why it must come.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, we'll go to the findings. Objectives of the Uganda Communications Fees and Fines. The objective of the Uganda Communications Fees and Amendment Regulations number 24 of 2023 were to amend the spectrum fees chargeable for bands, to provide for the formula of computation of fees for E-band and the formula for fees for the licensed portion of the 5G gigahertz band, to provide the computation of the spectrum fees chargeable for national and regional licenses. Mr. Speaker, Schedule 1 of the paragraph C of the Uganda Communications Fees Regulatory Instrument number 94 of 2019 was amended as summarized hereunder, creating two parts, one being the spectrum fees for access bands and part 2 being spectrum fees for national and regional licenses, providing that the fees are paid per annum in the column for the fees attached here, specifying pairing for the respective bands. Mr. Speaker, sir, I go to
page 6?
I go to, pardon?
Page 6, that's where your findings are. The rest is just history.
The analysis, yes.
Yeah.
So I'll go to page 6, Mr. Speaker. The regulations are number 3 of amendment, statutory instrument number 1, 94 of 20. Regulation 3 of Uganda Fees and Amendment, the regulations. Mr. Speaker, the regulations are good for the country, foster spectrum utilization that is efficient, economical, rational, and optimal. They cover the direct and indirect costs indicated with managing, regulating radio frequencies, foster well-functioning, innovative, and competitive markets, foster achievement of national economic and social development goals, including the digital transformation program, promote the use of ICT in the entire economy and society, promote improvement of national mobile broadband coverage, and facilitate the realization of the socio-economic benefits associated with mobile broadband. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee observes that Uganda Communications Fees and Fines Amendment Regulations 2023 were issued by the Minister of ICT and National Guidance in accordance with the Uganda Communications Act and do not contravene the Constitution in any way or any other law. The regulations were made in consultation with the Uganda Communications Commission as provided for under Section 93(1) of the Uganda Communications Act 2013. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker and honorable members, the committee finds the Uganda Communications Fees and Fees Amendment Regulations 2023 legally permissible, good and appropriate for the country. The committee recommends that these regulations are adopted by Parliament. Mr. Speaker, the attached is the band, and the band category and the pricing of the band. I lay this on the table.
Thank you. Now, honorable colleagues, I read through this report. The committee didn't find any single fault with any regulation. That's why I was saying, really, if you have not found any fault, so what I will do, if any of you colleagues has an issue, this is the time to raise it, or you hold your peace forever. Yes, Honorable Esther.
Mr. Speaker, just before we can approve the committee report, I beg the Ministry of ICT, it should get to the floor here to explain to the House and all Ugandans why Ugandans should continuously be deprived of accessing the Facebook up to this day. And why should we see also other government officials using Facebook through other means? Just, I beg to be aided.
Thank you. Now, Honorable, you're making my work difficult. We are discussing a report. We are not discussing matters of national importance. We have a report of the committee. the debate and discussion must be limited to the report. If the committee had raised it, so please, you can raise that at any time to the minister, but not when we are debating the report. So colleagues, if you don't have any contribution on the issue, yes, Honorable Roland.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. I've had the opportunity to peruse through the report, but I think the committee did not do analysis, especially when it comes to those charges, to those costs that they are recommending that the government can increase at any one time. To me, Right Honorable Speaker, what I would request the committee, maybe even in a liaison with the Minister of ICT, is to look at the chronology and the history of those costs so that before we recommend, because there is a possibility of even a future increment. So we need to look at we need to do a proper analysis and look at the history of the costings and look at how it has been and look at the trend. We analyze the trends with a view of ensuring that Ugandans are not exploited. Right Honorable Speaker, Uganda has the highest cost of internet, has the highest cost of telecom, airtime. So it baffles some of us. What is the basis? Right Honorable Speaker, for example, when you go to telecom companies, you find that you buy data, you pay 20,000, for example, and it expires. Why should data expire? If airtime, if I put airtime of 20,000 and I call, even if it is 2 months, it will be there if I'm not using it. Why should, for example, data be allowed to expire and then I have to be charged more money? So these things need to come out clearly in the report so that we, as a parliament, we come up with resolutions that protect our people. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. But Honorable colleague, see, these are regulations, okay? So with the regulations, the debate would be, is there a missing gap? Because all you are talking about is provided for under the powers given to UCC. So what should be happening now, you would say, okay, we have received the regulations, but next is monitoring implementation of these regulations. Are they being implemented fully? Or UCC is not even, and ministry is not implementing this regulation? That's where the debate is, okay? That's where the debate is. Or it would be, there is a missing regulation, there is a gap in the regulations. That's how the debate should be. But Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We did this, a comparative analysis for the region while we were looking at the regulations. If you look at the East African, for example, Kenya, for the same band, charges $125,000 for the same band. That Uganda is proposing to charge 60,000, and Tanzania charges 74,600 for the same band. So actually, Uganda is much lower because we're looking at attracting more investors in the sector. So we wanted to make sure that Uganda was lower than all East African countries. So we looked at the comparative advantage for the charges on this, and Uganda is the lowest.
Honorable colleagues, I now put the question on the motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on Information, Communication Technology and National Guidance on the Uganda Communications Fees and Fines Amendment Regulations 2023 pursuant to Section 93, Subsection 3 of the Uganda Communications Act 2013. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary, nay. The ayes have it. Next item.
Item 6 on the order paper. Motion that the House resolves itself into a committee of supply to consider supplementary schedule number 1 for the financial year 2022-2023 pursuant to Article 156(2) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, Section 25 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015 and Rule 153 of the Rules of Procedure.
Thank you. Colleagues, this motion was moved, the report was tabled, we were in debate. So let's resume with the debate. And I remember, I'll start with colleagues who had been picked yesterday. Okay? Yes. I have colleagues who were here and I had picked. I think we had gone to Honorable Achon, as Honorable Mutembri, Honorable Batua, Honorable Ndiomujenyi, as if I gave you a chance yesterday. Okay, Honorable Ndiomujenyi. Yes, Honorable Batua was here. Honorable Koruo, Honorable Flavia, Honorable Seungu. Then I come back here, pick a few colleagues. And Martin Muzari, Honorable. Each one of us 2 minutes, that's what we are giving.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And I want to thank you so much for the good memory, good vision for your eyes to catch up with me today. Honorable Speaker and colleagues, as you said, Honorable Speaker, yesterday, you have been in this parliament for 7 years. I too have been here for 7 years. And I want, first of all, to thank the Committee on Supplementary Report and Minority for their wonderful report. Honorable Speaker, we are aware in this country, if you see most of the schools, can you imagine, ever since the creation of the world, you believe some students are still studying under the tree up to now. And then you wonder, each year we have this money of supplementary report and you don't see the product. This is one of the things, Honorable Speaker, we should find a way of to restore this country in education. Secondly, on the health sector, you see most of the health center, they really don't have even a well-equipped of medication or the staff. In my district, Honorable Speaker, as I speak, there's some village or the villages, mothers still give birth at home where they can afford to go to the health center. So, Honorable Speaker, I would request this country or the government really to make sure they work on that. Honorable Speaker, in this country, there are some villages where they have no access of road. Even there are people who have never even seen the vehicles coming to their villages just because there are no roads, Honorable Speaker. So this is one of the things where, Honorable Speaker, we should find how to place this Thank you.
Honorable, conclude, because it's 2 minutes.
Lastly, Honorable Speaker, the salary for our civil servants, usually they are not paid in time. For example, the teachers, the health staff, the health workers. So I would urge you for the government, really, Honorable Speaker, to make sure they pay our civil servants in this country. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Batua, then Honorable Mutembe.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Allow me to comment on this supplementary as the Shadow Minister of Health. First and foremost, the Ministry of Finance has programmed our brains to think that there isn't any money. There are activities that we needed to supply money with, small ones and big ones. Small ones like Karamoja sub-region, having in its regional referral hospital, 1 dental chair, yet it has 5 medical personnel, the principal dental surgeon, senior dental surgeon, the dental surgeon, the principal public health dental officer, 5 people who should actually do dental procedures using that chair. They need 5 chairs, but they have 1. So therefore, that renders others absent. We asked for small items as that, and Ministry of Finance didn't have money. We asked for big items like regional blood banks for Busoga sub-region. Ministry of Health, Ministry of Finance didn't have money. We appropriated 20 billions to transform health center tools to health center 3s. They didn't have money. But for them to come with a supplementary, requiring us to give money for parking space, it really makes us question priority in government. How does government give priority? How do they arrive to priority? So basically, Right Honorable Speaker, for this particular item, I'm in support of the minority report, and I urge Ministry of Finance that the business they bring to us should be sober business. When we are discussing here, we're not discussing alone. Ugandans are watching us on TV. How do they see us really giving?
Honorable Mutembri.
I cannot. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank the committee for their report. Mr. Speaker, for us to appreciate whether we should approve or not approve the supplementary budget, we must be guided by Article 156(2)(b) and Section 25(6) of PFMA. Because the tests are there. There are three. One, whether the particular item is unavoidable, whether it was unforeseeable, and I've forgotten the third one. But when you look at the section, it's there. Now, in order for us to be in a position to allow or approve any item, then the three tests must be looked at. Now, when I look at 2.7 billion that has been allocated for supervision of specialized hospital at Rubowa, which has only supervision, Mr. Speaker, 2.7. I thank the committee that this was rejected and that was reasonable enough. And Mr. Speaker, when I look at what was allocated to Busole Hospital, 3.6 billion, I think it passes the test of it's unavoidable because we signed a contract with the company that is doing the work, which is ongoing, and we're supposed to have paid them by February. Up to now, we have not yet paid. That means it's necessary and very urgent that this particular amount must be located. Mr. Speaker, we had an interaction with the road development.
Next speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, when you look at this schedule, first of all, I would like to appreciate your comment yesterday about not just looking at the figures, but looking at the principles of budgeting. Right Honorable Speaker, I would beg you that you give me only 4 minutes.
Honorable, please. All of us here, the brain is working the same way.
Right Honorable Speaker, last year, when we were approving the loan to do what they called the electricity scale-up project, we thought by now we would have power in our areas. I don't know how many members of parliament here have had the opportunity to have some poles erected in their areas, but ever since REA was hounded into Ministry of Energy, electricity access has become a problem. And the Ministry of Energy is in fights, the PS is in fights with the minister in recruitment for this particular project. Actually, the World Bank is almost canceling that loan because of the fights in the Ministry of Energy, Right Honorable Speaker. I would suggest that we don't give any money to the Ministry of Energy until they come here and explain to us the fights on this electricity scale-up project, which is stalling because of internal fights. Second, Right Honorable Speaker, I saw a supplementary for KCCA. The roads in the KCCA, I don't know how many of you stay around this. I had some people don't stay in the city, but those who stay in the city here, the roads are impassable. There is a
Honorable Flavia. Now, honorable colleagues, you see, it becomes difficult when I start judging that some of you are cleverer than others. Yeah, no, not that that's what the member wants, but when I start weighing you and I say, no, this one speaks more sense than the other. So have more time. When we say 2 minutes, let us do 2 minutes. When it is 3 minutes, let us do 3 minutes for all of us so that we have equality. Okay? But what we can do, if a honorable colleague has done extensive research on a matter, you can reach me in my chambers and we arrange quietly. Okay? Ari, we not on a microphone. We can't arrange on the microphone. And I can even justify, I say, no, I assigned so and so to extensive research on this matter. Okay? And Honorable Roland visited me, but he didn't tell me about his research. So Honorable Flavia.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I have a concern with adding more money, 26 billion to Uganda Police for acquisition of CCTV cameras and maintenance of that equipment. Right Honorable Speaker, Uganda Police is one of the leading human rights violators in this country, according to various human rights reports. Now, first of all, they have not yet fully accounted for the very first batch of the money given to them. We have fears as the opposition that adding them money to purchase more CCTV cameras, they are going to use this money to spy on key opposition figures and our supporters. They use them to arrest some of our supporters. More so, I also have a fear that they use these cameras selectively. We lost a young lady, Rita Nabukenya, at Nakawa, knocked down by a Uganda police vehicle. There were CCTV cameras here. We requested for that footage indicating the police vehicle number. They refused to bring out the footage. They said there were no cameras there. So my biggest fear is when we add them more money, they are going to continue violating human rights of Uganda. So we shouldn't give them any money. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Sewungu, then Honorable Muzare.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, there is a person who said one time that I hunted my animal. And after hunting my animal, I must enjoy it. When you look at this classified, this supplementary, someone is enjoying his animal. Honorable Speaker, the issue of classified expenditure is a white elephant. And I pray members, let us we beseech the president, we have a week at home and we save money for classified expenditure for 1 week and use it for your districts. This is what will come out. Second, Honorable Speaker, why do we look at UPDF senior officers separately from juniors? Senior officers here, even in Parliament, still use government vehicles. They were given money for vehicles, but the privates are not catered for. The same for police. That is selective application on different leaders. Honorable Speaker, the issue of buying judges' vehicles with the cameras, I think let us give them choppers instead. Otherwise, they have lead cars, they have everything. What are these vehicles for? I'm a member of Parliament. I move without security. But you are giving vehicles for this, and within a supplementary. 43 billion, Honorable Speaker, for study materials is irregular. And I said it yesterday. Teachers are not there in schools. You have refused to bring more teachers in schools, but you are procuring study materials to be used by children without teachers teaching them how to use them. Is that the type of government we are running? Lastly, Honorable Speaker, the issue of Kira Motors. Who is going to buy this vehicle? One time I saw a vehicle being taken as a Kira Motor vehicle to Chankwanzi, but was taken by a car carrier. Why could it be driven by itself, by the driver to go to Chankwanzi? It was displayed in Chankwanzi with a car carrier, yet a manufactured vehicle.
Thank you. But Honorable colleague, some of the vehicles come to Uganda by air. They would have carried themselves here. So you want some of the vehicles that carry themselves like iron sheets, which carry to people's compounds, you know. So
Thank you,
yes,
Right Honorable
I had
Speaker.
Honorable Martin Muzari, and then Honorable Koruo. Honorable Muzari.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to agree with the minority report on the issue of the 3% legal limit. Right Honorable Speaker, for the years I've been here, I've always seen money going to attack sugar. It is not channeled through the mainstream budgeting. It always comes through the back doors of the 3% limit. Right Honorable Speaker, I don't know the value of this project as we speak today, because I have never seen a product from Atiak Sugar on the market. I don't know the importance and the purpose of investing money in Atiak Sugar. Right Honorable Speaker, Busoga as a region, we only asked for $37 million for a sugar factory. The Minister of Finance promised this money. Up to date, we've not even seen any coin going to Busoga. Right Honorable Speaker, I saw also Abu Bakr Technical Services being also allocated 26 billion. Right Honorable Speaker, many construction firms are in this business. They have not benefited from this. We don't know the basis of giving this money to Abu Bakr Technical Service. But of course, we know that Abu Bakr has been getting so many contracts, even beyond what they can afford. We didn't know who was behind this, but we now realize there is someone, there is a mafia behind this company. Right Honorable Speaker, I think this is...
Honorable Koruo.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the committee for the two reports. Directly to the point, on the issue of Atiak, to me, I would be very happy if this money was directed to the compensation of the people of Oteso, Acholi, and Lango, who lost their cows during the insurgency of what. The president has been preaching. They even opened accounts. People were validated. Totally, there is nothing that they have got. And for sure, there will be no information we shall even tell our people. Then two, the new administrative centers. In my constituency, there are two. To be direct and to the point, it is now me paying the rent for these administrative units. Sub-counties of Angodingod and sub-county of Angisa. I am very sure other members are facing the same problem. Why can't money be directed to this? Then lastly, because of time, I have a letter here. I can call it a notification of a teacher who was appointed, but the teachers have been coming to Kampala here to get appointment letters. They cannot seek any employment anywhere. Where can these people go now? I beg to lay this document to show that these people are suffering. They are paying a lot of money, transport costs from the village to...
No, Honorable, an appointment letter cannot be evidence of suffering. So if you lay it on table, it doesn't serve any purpose. Okay, at least that one has hope. Those ones. Now, colleagues, I allowed enough people this side yesterday. Why I started with this side, I wanted to balance. Honorable Minister for Finance. And I've seen colleagues who are not here yesterday, the ones who are I know some who were here and are asking, like Honorable Isaac was here yesterday, I know, but colleagues, we have to do business and finish. 4 p.m. I have Prime Minister's time, and you have a lot of issues for the Prime Minister.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, arising from the motion I moved yesterday, the following are the responses I would like to present to the House. One, on whether 3% is still necessary, our response is yes, in order to allow for flexibility to handle the emerging requirements during the budget implementation. Number two was on whether suppression of the budget is provided for in the law. Our response is that no, this is not provided for in the law. However, it is done for purposes of managing cash budget. It normally occurs when the available resources are not sufficient to meet the priority requirements. And as a result, we distribute the available resources to meet the needs as we deem necessary. An example I would like to give here is that in this financial year, under Ministry of Defense, there was a requirement for 339 billion for salaries, which was not available, and we had to do consultations with the stakeholders, and the decision was taken to suppress the development budget with the same amount. Mr. Speaker, on reallocations are normally provided for in the law through what we call revirement, where the minister is allowed to buy up 10%, and anything above 10%, we normally do so with authorization of Parliament. On the one-stop center land, the Kororo land, we are procuring the land, and we are aware that one of the titles is still encumbered. And in the process of procurement, by the time we get to final payment, we definitely cannot pay when the title still has encumbrances. And the accounting officer is properly managing this process. On delayed revoting of the monies under U-Gift and USMAID, Mr. Speaker, since the financial year close started in July, we started the process of requiring accounting officers to submit to us the monies which have not been spent in line of the two items, and we concluded receiving this information by November, and in December, to be exact, on 22nd of December, this is when we submitted our request, our supplementary, to this House for consideration. And I pray that today we consider this supplementary so that the votes, the respective votes, are able to use this money. From the debate, there is a member who asked whether, considering the time remaining, whether these votes will be able to utilize the money. Mr. Speaker, sir, We are informed that some accounting officers already have pending certificates waiting for this approval so that they can be able to pay the certificates. And in other cases, the procurement process has been done and they are waiting confirmation that this money is available, and they sign with the contractors and work will be able to begin. Mr. Speaker, on NAM, Mr. Speaker, on NAM, I first of all wish to inform the House that the government of Uganda contribution to Munyonyo Commonwealth Resort for construction of a convention center in preparation for hosting the Non-Aligned Movement Conference in Uganda this year is that Uganda is scheduled to host the NAM Summit this year, 2023. However, there is no conference facility that can accommodate the over 3,000 delegates expected from the 120 member states and the 17 observer countries. Accordingly, Uganda entered a joint venture agreement with Mera Investments Limited as a feasible option for constructing and operating the convention center for hosting the Non-Aligned Movement G77 and China Summit. Honorable colleagues, we take note of Parliament's concern on the need to carry out evaluation to determine government's equity contribution in the Munyonyo Commonwealth Resort. Accordingly, we will task UDC, which is the government's investment arm, to take stock of all government's equity in the Munyonyo Commonwealth Resort and all other government ventures and provide a report to both Cabinet and Parliament. However, in order not to derail preparations for hosting of the NAM conference and the resulting diplomatic and economic benefits, this supplementary has been authorized for expenditure, and I beg for the Parliament's approval. Mr. Speaker, while considering the supplementary on NAM, the committee raised an issue on the agreement. The committee said we had not entered into an agreement, a shareholders agreement, between Uganda Development Corporation as a lender and Speak Resort Convention Center Uganda Limited as a borrower. Mr. Speaker, I wish to inform the House that we have an agreement, and this agreement was entered into on 14th March 2023. I beg to lay on the table, Right Honorable Speaker.
Please lay.
Right Honorable Speaker, there was also an issue raised by the committee that we had borrowed this money without authorization by Parliament. I wish to inform the House that this is a dealing.
That you had lent.
Yes.
Not borrowed.
That they said we had.
Which money exactly?
This $17.2 million.
For Munyonyo?
Yes.
The committee was saying you rent it to Munyonyo.
Yes.
Without authorization, not borrowing.
Yes. That we rent this money without authorization. I wish to inform the House that this is a dealing between UDC and the Munyonyo Convention Center, and it does not require approval of Parliament. Yeah. Yes, this is a fact.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker,
I think, Honorable Minister, just a minute. You need to explain this very well, because the language, when we use the language of dealing and all that, because I read the report and I called the meeting and we really discussed this issue. Colleagues, UDC is an independent company which government of Uganda holds 100% shares. What government of Uganda does is to capitalize UDC as a shareholder. Okay? Then UDC as a company has its own bylaws that allows it to borrow, that allows it to lend. When you are a company, you can, and a shareholder, you as a shareholder, you can give what we call a shareholder loan. For example, it's like the money we allocate to Uganda Development Bank. It is the same money for you, for UDC, but you cannot say anyone whom Uganda Development Bank is going to give money, you must come to Parliament here for approval because government of Uganda owns 100% shares in Uganda Development Bank. Now, but if UDC is coming here to borrow money to go and invest, then it must be approved by Parliament. If it is coming here to borrow money to invest, for example, UDB always borrows money to go and invest via lending. It comes here for that money. Now, when you get your own money and you capitalize the company, that company is going to do business. What we need to do is ensuring, number one, Auditor General audits to know was this money used for the purpose or used where. Number two, we as a committee of COSASE, which is under Parliament, is it using it where? Has the Auditor General raised issues? And my concern, Honorable Chivumbe, touched it very well yesterday, colleagues. Colleagues, the concern Honorable Chivumbe touched yesterday was on our powers of appropriation. And really, this is where the difficult question is. You authorize someone to spend 3%. You tell him, go and spend. After you will come back to me, okay? And I will approve retrospectively. And you have not given an implication of that person spending in a way you don't like. A very good example. We have passed many, we have rejected some loans, some expenditure here under 3%. Have you ever called anyone to return that money? Because you legally gave away your powers to that person to go and spend. Tell me any person you were allowed to go and spend 2 trillion under 3%, and you come here, you refuse, and that person will you say sell your goods and return the money, but you authorized me to spend. If you didn't trust me, why did you allow me to spend? It's very, very simple. So, in short, colleagues, there is where we gave our powers to someone to go and behave in a certain manner. And I want a very good example. Where you refused, I want a good example. Where you refused to approve that money spent under 3%. What happened? Because you see, sometimes I don't want us to sit here, we make decisions, which decisions are not implementable. Why? You waste our time. Honorable Nambeshe, please. We shall make a statement that you rejected. What happened?
Mr. Speaker, on that one of 3%, on the 3% legal limit.
My proposal, Honorable Nambeshe, just where I said Honorable Chivumbi touched it. The principle, we need to see a way of controlling where that money can be spent by law. But the moment you give a blank check, he spends, you give your kid money to go, you say, you go to the market, the kid goes buys sweets, buys what? Will you come and say, you're no longer my son, you cannot inherit anything, return the money? Where does he get it? You help us on that. How can we get a solution? Chivumbi made some proposals here.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm happy that we share similar concerns. And what is that issue is that this House...
Colleagues, let's listen, and I want us to be honest on this issue.
Right Honorable Speaker and the members, our hands are tied by Section 25 of the Public Finance Management Act. And Mr. Speaker, we have, yes, indeed, This 3%, the way it is being spent, it erodes the powers of appropriation of this House. And therefore, this is the right time, Mr. Speaker, to implore you and seek your indulgence that this House amends that section 25 of the public finance.
Bring a proposal. Bring a proposal. Yes.
Come, please come.
Honorable Chivumbi wanted to say something. Otherwise, the way it is, we gave our powers to someone to spend.
Chair, Right Honorable Speaker. Chair, Right Honorable Speaker, two issues. One, if this Parliament can allow me to give a note without right here, in a week or two, I can table an amendment to this House to amend Section 25 of the Public Finance Management Act to protect the powers of Parliament of appropriation. And I'll do the needful. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, on the question of Munyonyo, why we have an issue, UDC in Munyonyo, this money has not gone to UDC for Munyonyo. It has gone to a special purpose vehicle, which has been registered an entity straight away. Now, when you look at money for ATIAC, and when you look at other monies where UDC is involved, we give money straight to UDC. Then UDC can go still and invest on behalf of power.
Honorable Chivumbi, the information I want to give you, the money for Munyonyo is under UDC, vote 015, Minister of Trade.
Please, Right Honorable Chivumbi.
Yeah, you see the difference when we give money to, first of all, the money has already been dispatched. That's a fact.
The money has already been given under 3%.
Under 3%. And but you see, even the attempt here, and Honorable knows, when we give money to UDC to invest, like in ATIAC, equity sharing, elsewhere, this time there is a special purpose vehicle that has been already registered. There is a slight difference. I would not be so naive to question it. This money has been given to an investment between MERA investment and government of Uganda. Now, where you have a problem with this is that MERA is a subsidiary of Munyonyo Resort. Munyonyo Resort government of Shia is already an investor in Munyonyo Resort. And what is happening? Munyonyo Resort, within the precincts of land of Munyonyo Resort, MERA has carved out land and said it is now the one that is going to lease for this new company. That is our money. And the valuation has issues. The other issue we have is that the major report says we allow equity sharing, but refuse money for construction. That we have allowed equity, money this time goes to the construction. So you cannot have it both ways.
You either have it or
either have it or not.
Or not.
So the majority report is shy on the truth. That's why for us, information.
Let's conclude, Honorable.
Thank you so.
I need to yield back the floor to the minister.
Thank you so much, colleague, for giving me way. Right Honorable Speaker, the information I wanted to give the colleague. The Munyonyo issue with UDC has never brought any single profit to the government under UDC. And even we've never seen any dividend. All these years, I happen to sit on the Committee of Trade. But even the minister who's supposed to be on that to supervise was not even aware of the transactions. So, Right Honorable Speaker, the information I want to give to my colleague is that we have a problem in Uganda. Even the committees that are supposed to supervise, like trade, sometimes we are frustrated. We made the reports not to appropriate money to attack, but money was channeled, and it is through even these ministers. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I don't see any reasons, much as money is going to UDC. Money, we've been appropriating money to go to this, the banana something, which comes from my district. And if it would be profitable, I would be saying we give money. But Right Honorable Speaker, I don't know if we are planning for this country that there is tomorrow, we have another generation to come, or we are eating as if we are dying tomorrow or today.
Thank you. Honorable Chivumbi, conclude. So as I conclude, my take on Munono to this parliament is that you have a very big decision to make.
Yeah.
My take on, for this parliament on Munyonyo is that we shall need to be bold in amending the recommendation of the majority report.
Yeah.
We either reject it in total, or we give it in total.
Thank you.
And for me, the money should be specifically
No,
going
Honorable,
to UDC.
I will not allow him to
The
use
money
the floor
should be
anymore.
specifically going to
No.
UDC and UDC, but my bone of contention, you are going to give money to Munyonyo, where even the Auditor General has deliberately refused to give books of accounts for auditing. And we are going to invest more money. I
Thank
beg
you.
to rest.
Thank you. Now, no, you don't access a microphone without my permission, Honorable Korik. Okay? So, please, Honorable, take your seat. Now, I want us to use the language which is very clear. You don't say, we are not going to give money to this. You have already given. Money under 3% is the problem, colleagues. And I'm not up about it. Now, the problem, the money which we still have serious control, is money which is not under 3%. And then we come back as a house. We address the issue. The way Honorable Chivumbi has said it, but postmortem does not help. Postmortem does not help. I tell you, colleagues, me, I want to be as honest as possible. And this debate, what is so strange? Every financial year we have this debate. The same cries. Can we get a chua as a house this time? Okay? Honorable Musasizi, conclude.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on the 3%, the regulations provide that we spend it on items which are unforeseen and unavoidable. And Mr. Speaker, I am confident, and I analyzed these expenditures line by line. Whatever expenditure we considered under 3% missed the test of being unforeseen. Where it was not unforeseen, it was unavoidable.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I have 3 clarifications to make and I finish. And I beg.
Please, Honorable colleagues, let's allow the minister to make clarifications on
Mr.
issues which
Speaker,
is raised.
on Mr. Speaker.
Procedure.
Right, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I really want to starboard disorganize a colleague. But Right, Honorable Speaker, fortunately, the Honorable Minister did make a clarification that some of these issues come only when they are unexpected. You even made your case worse. Do you want to tell me, Honorable Minister, that honestly, NAM is an issue you ran over just a month, 2-3 months ago? Attack? Is that unforeseen?
Okay.
Right, hold on, I am moving just about.
Honorable,
right, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable colleague.
Right,
please, just
goes to our accountability committees. Okay? This goes, let's listen to each other. Any company where government has shares, we have shareholders. We have their directors. As shareholders in any company, we have rights. Where you cannot give me information, I can get it via court because I'm a shareholder. Okay? They have a shareholders general annual meeting. Now, why isn't government exercising its rights of a shareholder in companies where it's holding shares? Now, if we are talking of government broadly, then we can even go to representatives of government on that board. Okay? We can go for them as individuals. Yes. As individuals, because they are government officials. And we continue to give them power, we continue. Why aren't they performing their duty as required? That should be the issue. And colleagues, these are the hard questions we should start asking. You can't say that our shareholding in Munyonyo, we asked our fellow shareholder to give us information and he refused. How? Number two, if the shares are not performing, you liquidate. If the investment is bad, because this is, you see sometimes government does business, you liquidate. Okay, you cash out, you go invest in other areas. But Honourable Minister, conclude on this matter.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. And I want to thank my elder brother, Honorable Alex, for the concerns. I wish to inform him and the House that NAM was foreseen at the time of budgeting, but the money was not provided for. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, this became unavoidable in this financial year, and that is why we funded it under 3%. Mr. Speaker, the committee is declining approval of 20 billion for Chira Motors. And I wish to respond as follows. Colleagues, the budget for Chira Motors for financial year 2022-2023 is Uganda shillings 12.5 billion and not Uganda shillings 77 billion as noted by the committee. Indeed, the supplementary has only provided Uganda shillings 20 billion due to resource constraints. Furthermore, I had authorized this supplementary under 3% legal limit and already released the funds to Chira Motors. I therefore request that the House approves this supplementary and in line with the recommendation by Parliament. The Ministry will task the Auditor General to carry out comprehensive audit of the funds released to Chira Motors over the last 5 years. Mr. Speaker,
colleagues, please.
I have my last.
When a member presents his or her opinion, you can't subject it to a point of order. It's my opinion. You can disagree with it. You have your own, if you feel you're misread or what, it can't be order, okay? Order is conduct in the House, not submissions on the floor. Honorable Chivumbi, you, have you allowed him?
No.
Let me finish.
No. Allow.
Honorable Chivumbi.
Speaker, I beg to be allowed to finish. No.
Please, I want behavior in the House. It is a member's right to accept information or clarification. If he doesn't, you don't have a right to just say allow. Please. That's not how we run Parliament.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker, for your wise ruling. Mr. Speaker, on the 274.11 billion to Uganda Development Corporation for purchase of Government of Uganda shares in Achak Sugar Factory. This intervention is in line with the government's industrialization policy and commitment to balanced regional and equitable development. Honorable colleagues, there are sugar factories in the central, in the eastern, and in the western regions. However, Achak Sugar Factory is the only sugar factory in northern Uganda. The factory will support the sugarcane outgrowers as well as tap into the DRC and the South Sudan markets. Mr. Speaker, this provision was also made under the 3% legal requirement, and we beg Parliament for retrospective approval. Mr. Speaker, with this submission,
Honorable
I
colleague,
wish
when
to
you say
invite
it
the
twice
House-
and he doesn't accept, please you take your seat.
Mr.
You don't-
Speaker, Mr. Speaker, with this submission, I wish to invite the House to support the motion, and I beg that we pass it as I moved it.
Thank you. Thank you. Honorable colleagues, you're doing postmortem on 3%. Okay? I have asked one of you, anyone who can tell me, because we've ever rejected, I have asked one of you to tell me the implication when we rejected, what happened? Who refunded? Who did what? You can't. No. You gave away, you delegated your powers. The solution lies within what Honorable Chivumbi has said, that to ensure this does not happen next year. So, yes, I can tell you, if that's what you want, as well. So thank you very much, honorable colleagues, please. I now put the question. Now, colleagues, we are going for the Committee of Supply. I now put the question that the House resolves itself into a Committee of Supply to consider the supplementary expenditure schedule number 1 for financial 2022-2023. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Committee of Supply.
Thank you. Now, honorable colleagues, I think some of you are shouting without understanding even what we are on. Why? You still have a chance. At the Committee of Supply, you can reject what you don't want. This is the committee. So in short, you're saying you don't want a committee to sit. Number 2, yes, a procedure. Procedure?
Right, Honorable Speaker, we do respect your ruling, and it is common knowledge in this House that you are the custodian of the rules. Just as you ruled, Mr. Speaker, if you were keenly observant, quite a number of members on both sides of the aisle remained standing, and it required your indulgence, Mr. Speaker, to establish or ascertain the numbers, because they were even more than 40, Mr. Speaker.
Right, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Colleagues, you have not approved any supplementary. That's why you're surprising me. Okay? So you can still vote yes or no. And listen, and in the voting, in your voting, you consider the two reports. Where you agree, where you disagree. Okay? At this stage, both reports are still valid. We have not voted on any. That's what we are on. No, Honorable. Okay. Honorable Cicero, go ahead.
Right Honorable Speaker, you guided properly that every year we have gone through the same challenges. And we seem to be going through it again. And it looks as if this time the House is prepared to disagree with the executive. There was a time we had to ask, the House had to ask the Minister of Finance to apologize on the floor of Parliament. And this time round, we have accepted the report without an apology. So that means from now on, the ministers will know that we have agreed to all the processes because we have agreed to adopt the report and to approve. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to draw the attention of the members to a constitutional provision 164 subsection 2. If we approve the budget, and should it arise that the country will lose money, Right Honorable Speaker, you and the entire House and the officials and the bureaucrats involved will be required to refund the money. It is a constitutional requirement. And I want you to know, I want to read it, Right Honorable Speaker, so that when we approve, we should approve mindful of what the law requires. For me, I'm not disagreeing on the processes of budget. The government cannot do without the budget. Parliament cannot do without the budget. We have to budget. But we have to make sure that the executive who help us with the budgeting processes are doing it in accordance with the law. That is where we disagree, Right Honorable Speaker. And you know, when you look at Article 159 of the Constitution, we are definitely carrying out a process which is illegal. But we have agreed every year that let it be done, but at an appropriate time, the ministers must change. Right Honorable Speaker, can you agree with us that this will be the last year? That
clarify for me.
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to read for you so that we do it.
Honorable Cicero, just clarify for me, okay? What is illegal? Okay? Because, colleagues, I don't want it to go on the answer that we were doing something illegal and the member cautioned us and we continued doing something which is illegal. So read for me that part which shows we are doing something illegal.
Right Honorable Speaker, Article 164, subsection 2. 164 of the Constitution, subsection 2. Can I read it? I'm not a lawyer, but I'm learning.
Please read, Honorable.
Especially since the Deputy Attorney General is a lawyer. I think he will help me to catch up. Article 164, subsection 2 reads, any person holding a political or public office who directs or concur in the use of public funds contrary to existing instructions shall be accountable for any loss arising from that use and shall be required to make good the loss even if he or she has ceased to hold that office. So, right Honorable Speaker, my conscience tells me that if I approve what the Committee of Budget and also agreed by the Minority Report, if we agree on the approval of the budget or the money required, I shall be held responsible for the loss of money. And the people of Dokolo will hold me responsible because they are innocent. They have sent me to legislate on their behalf. So I want to put this clear to the House, and Right Honorable Speaker, you have a team of lawyers. Let Parliament be cleared of this. I beg to submit.
Thank you, Honorable Sirogwar. I just want to give you comfort. Section 25 of the PFMA. 1. The total supplementary expenditure that requires additional resources over and above what is approved Parliament shall not exceed 3% of the total approved budget for that financial year without approval of Parliament. 2. Where funds are expended under subsection 1, supplementary estimates showing the sums spent shall be laid before Parliament within 4 months after the money is spent. Okay? So what is very clear, Honorable Minister, the expenditure, please.
Right
please,
Honorable Speaker, I
Honorable
thank you.
Sirogwar, don't access microphone. You can ask for it, I'll give it. Now, this is the role you made. First wait. This is the role you made. This is the role you made to operationalize Article 156 of the Constitution. And that's why I was telling you, honorable colleagues, that you cannot blame a minister, you blame yourselves who made the role. Okay? Honorable Kiror. Honorable Kiror, you want to say something?
Yes, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable members, I want to certainly agree with the interpretation which has been given by the Speaker. We are caught at crossroads. Just listen to me. We are caught at a crossroads. We have an act of Parliament that clearly has given us the provisions of the law. 3%, we shot ourselves down. It even gives you the leeway to go and spend. What we are doing here is now post-mortem. It's duty bound upon us. Listen, it's duty bound upon us. This is an error. Actually, we are sitting here, money has been spent, and it has been authorized by the law. Thank you.
He has allowed information. Hold on.
I needed to allow Honorable Kwizera. Honorable Kwizera.
Mr. Chairperson, I want to seek the principle I am seeking.
The Honorable is holding the floor.
Is whereby the Honorable Member from Dokoro has made a reference.
The member is holding the floor.
Has made a reference to articles of the Constitution. And the Constitution is supreme. You are a chairperson, you are making a reference to the Act of Parliament. I would suggest that the Attorney General comes in to interpret. Otherwise, we think we are doing something wrong because you are reading the Article of Parliament, the member has raised illegality of in the Constitution. I would think so.
Honorable colleague. Honorable colleagues, just order. Let's listen to one another. I will allow you to speak. Honorable colleague, a constitution is operationalized by statutes of Parliament. Otherwise, we can throw away all laws. That is why, if you have any issue with the statute conflicting with the Constitution, you can go and you challenge it, and it will be struck off. But as long as it is not yet challenged, it is standing and it will be implemented. Attorney General, I need you. Attorney General, I need you.
Procedure, right, Honorable Speaker.
Attorney General.
Procedure, right, Honorable Speaker. Under one rule, one.
Attorney General, Doug, take time. Calm down a little.
Under Rule 101 procedure. Under Rule 101.
Imbwa. First. Imbwa. Now, honorable colleagues, honorable colleagues, just let me tell you what's here. Honorable colleagues, just a bit. I have an issue with the. I have an issue with the Attorney General here. Colleagues, I want to give a chance to the Attorney General. Now, but I want to remind you, colleagues, when a matter is a matter of procedure, it is the Speaker. It is the Speaker who gives the response. Where a Speaker feels he needs the help of the Attorney General or any other person, I call on him. Now, my brother Doug, it's not that I'm stopping you to speak. No. Because these are straightforward matters where as a Speaker I have to give a ruling. Okay? And don't take it in bad faith, my brother. But, colleagues, Doug wanted to say something. He wanted to supplement me. Let me give him an opportunity. He supplements me. Yes, yeah. Because,
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. The reason I wanted to speak.
colleagues around the Attorney General had
Mama Cecilia has given the impression that by Parliament doing its job, that we are creating an illegality. She has given an impression and cited Article 164.2 that if we pass and approve this appropriation, we shall be held accountable. That's what she said. Now, allow me state this.
Please listen to the Attorney General, colleagues. Yeah.
The article herein, the article referred to, refers to other members that hold public office. Members of Parliament, their role is to appropriate. And appropriation means approving expenditure like we are doing. Now, any other person that authorizes expenditure outside the rules set by this Parliament is the one Article 164.2 is referring to. I'm begging you kindly read that article and confirm for yourselves.
No. Colleagues, I have spoken.
Clarification.
Colleagues, Speaker. I have spoken to the leadership on both sides. I'm going to suspend the House for 15 minutes so that they talk to each other after they come and update us, okay? House suspended, leadership of both sides, and the chair, they talk. Thank you.
UBC. Inspiring Uganda.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
This week on UBC.
A boat ride is carried out on Lake Albert, and the main attraction on Lake Albert is the shoebill. A shoebill is classified under the endangered bird species in the world. There are also other species of birds, but the major interest on a boat ride is the shoebill. This shoebill
committee stage, so there is nothing to report. I have consulted leaders on both sides. We've agreed, and the Dean of Independence, indeed, I should join them. So the leadership, please, the leadership on both sides, and Chief Whip, you know the team you want to go with. Rope, you know the team you want to go with. I'm going to give you my own launch so that you can be able to meet. In 20 minutes, you should have maximum 20 minutes. We shall resume. House suspended for 20 minutes.
This week on UBC.
A boat ride is carried out on Lake Albert, and the main attraction on Lake Albert is the shoebill. A shoebill is classified under the endangered bird species in the world. There are also other species of birds, but the major interest on a boat ride is the shoebill. This shoebill is very interesting if I can tell you facts about it. First of all, how did it acquire its name? It acquired its name just because of the way we look at its beak. Its beak, or what we call a bill, looks like a shoe. The shape of its beak looks like a shoe. So it derived its name from the bill looking like a shoe.
Right now, we have reached the habitat or the territory of our shoebill. Now these shoebill birds, they like standing on floating vegetation. So where we are in the right place.
It takes courage, passion, practical engagement, career interest, vision, targets who want to create a thriving economic empire. Entrepreneurs Hub giving you a deep and unique insights into agribusiness, services, ICT and innovation, industrialization, and so much more. Entrepreneurs Hub, growing your small, medium, and large business entity. With yours truly, Sandra Kahunde, right here on UBC, Inspiring Uganda.
One-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
A weekly face-to-face conversation focusing on accountability, inspiration, information, and sensitization of the public from the various sources such as inspirational profiles.
Having disability is not inability.
Professional guidance.
There is no special antiretroviral therapy that is given specifically for discordant couples.
And of course, politics.
Don't you see anywhere that you would give a credit in the fight against COVID?
My role as the owner of the country is not to, be preoccupied by giving credit to my servant.
We have said that if we are to talk to General Museveni, there must be certain conditions in place.
Is it true that you paid 5 million shillings to MPs that voted for Anita Mong and Tayebo?
That is laughable. Why would we pay when we have nominated them as SEC?
The Sovereign Party has been represented in Uganda's parliament for 10 years. We only by one MP. You yourself and my daughter, Susan.
Every Friday 9 p.m. it's one-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa on UBC TV, Inspiring Uganda.
UBC, Inspiring Uganda.
Here. Okay, so you have all read our proposal on how we would like to spend our human money fund this year. It's time to vote. All in favor, make some noise.
Wait! No! What exactly are we voting for?
This proposal was distributed days ago. Why didn't you read it?
Some of us can't read. Have you ever considered that?
Yeah, I also can't read, but I need to know what my money is being used for.
Order, please.
They need our help. Come on.
Yeah, just because
This is so... Look at it.
If you can't hear each other, how could you possibly find a solution?
I have a solution. Only people who can read and write can vote in this parliament.
No, that'll be worse. That's so unfair.
Or we open a school so every animal can learn how to read and write.
That's good idea. Oh, we can learn so much. Yes, and I can learn more math too. I'll be a math whiz soon.
Wonderful. And as our only forest teacher, Mama Ndege, you can run the school.
Me? Yes, I'd be honored to run the school.
Mama Ndege. We can use the human money fund to build the school.
All in favor of building a forest school? Woo, woo,
animals entrusted us with their money to buy materials. We need to make this the best and the most modern school we can.
With all the coolest new gadgets.
We're gonna help create the best animal school ever.
Guys, look at those desks. They would be perfect for this school.
Yeah! Let's go buy some.
The Whiz Whiteboard. Whiz Whiteboard. Come and get the most advanced and modern whiteboard original from Europe. Self-cleaning, auto-correcting, and with extra sound effects. With a super low price if you buy today.
How much?
Just 80,000 Kokotoa shillings.
Whoa, that's way too much.
Not if you know how good it is.
Can it write by itself?
It can try.
Hiduchu, come on.
Girls, the Whiz Whiteboard is top quality. I'm telling you, all the top schools have it.
But it's expensive. It's 80,000. That's a lot of money.
I'll give you a 10% discount, but you'll have to buy today.
So that's 72,000?
Still expensive.
But we want our school to be the best.
And to be the best, you need a Whiz Whiteboard.
We'll take it.
Welcome, welcome. We have a lot of beautiful desks on offer, and they are the highest quality you will find.
We're looking for the cheapest desks you've got.
Then you want this one. It costs 2,000 Kokotoa shillings.
We'll take 3. They're kind of flimsy. That's all we can afford. All ready for the animal school to start tomorrow.
Ta-da! Oh, I can't believe the school is opening! Yay!
Wow!
Hooray! You did it! Ooh, desks! I love a good desk. Can't wait to sit at it and learn.
These desks aren't stable at all.
Yeah, but they were cheap.
What's the point in buying a cheap desk that no one can sit at?
Oh man! Ouch!
We need a roof and walls to make sure our dear students can learn, rain or shine.
But we only have 22,000 shillings left. That's not enough for new desks and a roof.
I really wanted that whiteboard, but it's useless without a roof.
I still have the receipt for it. Let's return it and buy the roof and some better desks.
Wait! We need to budget first before we buy even more stuff. My dad's always writing budgets, but it's a waste of time if we know what we want.
Yeah! We don't need a budget. We just need a plan for how we want to spend our money.
And that, my friends, is a budget. It's a plan for how you will spend the money you have.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Let's write a budget. So, who knows how to write a budget?
I do. We normally divide the budget into 3 parts.
Saving, spending, and giving, right?
Yeah, that's how we elephants do it too.
My parents' budget looks like this. The spending column includes rent, bills like electricity and water, school fees, groceries, and so on. Giving includes donations for good causes, or in case we need to help a friend in need. And
saving for unforeseen events, like sickness, and for future investments, of course. I am always saving money from the market.
Okay, so how much money do we have to budget?
Well, if we return this whiteboard and the desks that aren't broken, we'll have 98,000 Kokotoa shillings.
So how much do we need to save?
Well, we need to make sure we've got enough money saved to buy new materials later on and to fix things if they get broken.
Well, for a school, we're going to need to have at least 12,000 shillings in savings. 1,000 for each month, just in case anything happens.
So we will save 12,000 shillings.
What about giving?
Who are we giving to?
To students, of course. It will be a giving fund to support our students to go on and do great things.
Like training the young ones in the art of fruit selling.
Exactly! Yeah!
We're just getting started, so we don't have a lot to give. So let's put 12,000 into the giving column. And if we get donations from other animals, we can add more.
98,000 minus 12,000 for saving and 12,000 for giving leaves us with 74,000 shillings to spend.
Now we can decide what to spend all that money on. Like a cushion for my back and a reclining chair so I can sleep through the boring parts.
Gedere! We need to write a list of all the things we need to buy to make sure we don't exceed the money we allocated for spending.
A roof!
Desks!
Lights!
Calculators!
Books!
A reclining chair!
Pens!
Someone to put the roof up for us.
Okay. How much is all this gonna cost?
More than we have in our spending column, that's for sure.
We need to prioritize the needs over the wants.
Is there really a difference between needs and wants?
Yes! Needs are what you can't do without.
Like food, water, clothes, school fees, pumpkins. Oh, that's just me.
Oh, so wants are things you desire, but you can live without. Like my reclining chair, and hair oil, lotions, and perfumes.
Gedere! To some of us, lotions and hair oils are needs. I really need lotion to protect my skin from the sun.
Exactly. And it's not just about health. I need my hair oil to manage my hair and style my Kiduchu hairstyle, the most unique hairstyle in all of Kokotoa.
Oh, so sometimes what is a need to you is a want to me.
Well, we definitely need a roof. What about desks?
I'm more comfortable standing.
And I can sit in the tree with Snake.
And Juicy always sits on his rock anyway.
So maybe for you animals, desks aren't a need after all.
What about lights, though?
Well, as long as our classes are during the day, we won't need them.
And calculators?
Calculators? Nah, we're gonna use our brains, at least to start with. We won't need calculators until we get to the way more complicated stuff.
What about books then?
We need books.
Okay. Books is a need. Reclining chairs? Well, I think we all know where that belongs. And pens?
Yes!
And we need someone to put the roof up for us.
No, we don't. I can do that.
Thanks for volunteering, Gedere. We can all help build the roof. There we have it. Our new spending list is a roof, books, and pens.
Okay, time to return the flashy whiteboard and buy the things we really need. Hey, look! There he is! At least we managed to get some of our money back from the whiteboard seller.
But only 60,000.
At least we got refunded for the desks though. So now we have a spending budget of 64,000 shillings. We can still build the school with that.
How much is this type of iron sheet?
Oh, 6,000 Kokotoa shillings per sheet. And this one is 3,000 Kokotoa shillings per sheet.
We need to build a roof for a school. How much do we need?
A school? I'd say 10 iron sheets.
We'll take this one. It's cheap. It will only cost us 30,000 Kokotoa shillings.
Yes, that's within our budget.
How long will this last?
Hardly a year. This one is more durable and lasts for years.
What do? We have less money than we planned, and we still need 6,000 for books and 1,000 for pens.
If we buy the iron sheets that last a year, how sure are we that next year we'll have the money to replace them?
But if we buy the expensive one, we'll have less money for books and pens.
Whatever we do, there'll be consequences. But let's think.
Maybe the animals can share books like we do. Then we only need half as many books.
And that costs half as much.
So instead of spending 6,000 on books, we'll spend 3,000 and still buy enough pens for all the animals to write with for 1,000.
And that means we'll have enough money to buy the durable iron sheets.
Yes!
Life is full of choices and decisions. Who will tell you what to do? Is it you or your money? Is it you or your money? Money can tell you where to go and what to do. Take control, make a budget. Take control, write a budget. Plan your needs, then your wants, and save some too. Take control, make a budget. Take control, write a budget. 2,000 for that, 1,000 for this. The other things can wait.
A budget is a plan for how you use your money. A budget for you, your family, or the community.
Yes, or for a day, a month, or years. Plan how to use your pocket money each day. That's a budget. Now let's separate the needs from the wants. What is food?
Need!
Yes, it's a need. Because we cannot live without it. And bracelets?
Want!
Exactly. We can't live without bracelets. School uniforms?
Need!
And what about lotion?
Need! Want! Need! Want! I need it for my health.
And for my confidence.
Now I understand. A need for someone else might be a want for me.
Don't let money get you down. Write a budget. Take control, make a budget. Take control, write a budget. Plan your needs, then your wants, and save some too. Take control, make a budget. Take control, write a budget. 2,000 for that, 1,000 for this. The other things can wait. 2,000 for that, 1,000 for this. The other things can wait.
You definitely need more teachers.
We'll just have to put that in the budget for next term.
Another budget?
Yeah, didn't you know? Budgeting is a lifelong process, my friends.
Tufahamiane jamani, nyie mnatufahamu, sisi hatuwafahamu. Tutumie picha yako au video yako wakati unatuangalia. tueleze mtazamo wako katika kipindi chetu. Unapenda nini? Umejifunza nini? Kutupatia picha yako au video yako, tumia email yetu au Facebook hiyo hapo. Ni muhimu jamani, usikawie.
What is mathematics? Mental acrobatics every day, all the time. Just use your mind. You use math when you measure width and length, solving problems using mental strength. Use number operations like multiplication. The number you'll find is like magic from your mind. Math is a part of everyday life. Just add, subtract, divide, and multiply. Can you solve the problem? Did you get the answer? Just use your brain and you can do it, sir. Now, don't you rush it. Just take it slow. You must be careful. Don't you know? You use math for all things in life. When you eat ugali, you count your bites. In a parade, count the steps you take. Just listen when I rap. I'm using math. Calculate the distance when you drive your car, so you will know if you have gone far. Here's something else for you to count. Can you count the teeth in my mouth? We can measure width, length, and depth, and represent with X, Y, and Z. Math is used for everything. Just do the numbers in your head. Now try to add up all the spots on my neck. How many do you see? And I even use math to get leaves off the tree.
Mathematics, mathematics, mathematics,
Okay.
Mathematics, how I love it. Mathematics, Sing about the magic of mathematics. Mathematics, Making number magic with mathematics. Mathematics, Sing about the magic of mathematics. Mathematics,
Hey kids! Kibena needs your help! Help her pick the right number! Aha! That's it! All of you can help Kibena out using an Android smartphone. Download our Math Rats app, which has versions in both English and Kiswahili. Ask a parent or adult to help you. Then go to the Google Play Store and search for Ubongo Kids. Pick the app in the language you want and click Install to download it for free. Open it up and you'll have a fun, new educational app to play anytime you want. Need help? Just visit our Facebook page and we're here to help you out. Download it and we'll see you on the phone.
Ubongo is a Swahili word and the meaning of it is brain. You use it to find solutions to whatever life throws your way. If you're in a tough situation, don't give up, don't you complain. It's okay, you find a way, just use your brain. To me, Ubongo, just use your Ubongo. Ubongo kids,
guardian of Kibena Nambari. We would like to inform you of a trip to Mount Majawabu for Class 4. The cost will be 1,500 Kokotoa shillings per student.
As you can see, we'll be having a class trip at the end of next month. So please take this letter home to your parents. And don't forget to start training.
Training?
Yes, Kiduchu. How else do you expect to reach the top of the mountain,
Mount Majawabu!
Mount Majawabu!
There is no mountain greater
here in Kokotoa!
Hey, Kiduchu!